So this week, guys, we're going to make a clock, and it's not one I've made before. I have made clocks before, but this is a design I haven't made before, so anything could happen. But I was looking through Pinterest the other night and I saw a design that I really liked, so I'm going to try to copy it or pay tribute to it, let's say. For this one, we're going to make it out of yew. We've got a nice light wood because we want to put some darker woods in it. Now, the one thing with yew is it's poisonous. So if you're going to cut this or sand it or anything, you're going to have to wear a mask. As you see with this one, I've already cut the rough shape because we don't really need to see me cut the shape, do you? I mean, it's a shape. How difficult could it be? So, but what we've got is, we are 10 inches conversion there by 10 inches. And that makes a good sized kitchen clock. So in this video, we're going to make the clock. We're going to inlay a few bits and pieces. We're also going to put a movement in, which is the long shank ones. We'll talk about movements a little bit later in the video because there is quite a lot to know about these things. So, but we'll get into that when we get to fitting it. So the first thing we're going to do is, now we have it shaped to how we want it, we're going to start inlaying. And the first thing to inlay is this piece of walnut. Now, obviously it's not going to just be like that. We're going to make an interesting shape. So we've drawn a shape on there, which is going to go into here, something like that. We have quite a little bit of tear out on there, so rather than sand and sand and sand to try to get it out, let's just remove it and put a piece of walnut over it. So we've got this shape, which should be quite interesting, hopefully. So we're going to cut that piece out now on the bandsaw, place it on and see what we think. See if we like it. Now the idea for this clock is to inlay things like walnut, orange resin and blue resin in different patterns, just so that it looks interesting and exciting and dynamic and all those words. We have our clock cut out and we have our walnut pieces cut out. Now what we've got to do is inlay these three into the yew. So we'll draw around them. We've got a sharp pencil, and then hopefully we'll get these in and they'll look spectacular. And there we go. So that got to come out, that's got to come out, and that. Next, routering. Remember guys, yew is poisonous, so you're going to cause any dust with it, wear a mask. So and make sure, particularly if you've got a beard, it fits properly. This is really tight. Right, let's go. Okay, so now what we have to do is to glue them in. Okay, so it's the next day. They've been inlaid. I've sanded them back so that they're tidy. We do have a few little bits and pieces. I don't particularly like this bit here. And we've just got a little bit wide with the router there, just a tad. But when we put the resin in, we can take that bit out because we're going to router another piece of resin in. So, and we do have that tear out still here and there. So we'll try to router those out and inlay resin into those. But all in all, we're not too bad. That is going to be the top. So the clock looks like that so far. Looks like a Frisian cow to me, but there you go. This is the thing, when you see an idea that you like online and then you go and give it a go, well, is that image that you looked at, is it manipulated in some way, or is it a real thing? So the case is, you just give it a go. If you like it, great, you've got another product for your shop. If you don't like it, well, you've got an ugly clock. That's about it. So the next thing to do is to drill a hole in the center, and what we have is we have a drill bit which is just slightly wider than the shank on the movement, so that it freely goes in and out. Obviously we're going to have to router the movement into the back of the clock, because at this moment in time it's not long enough, and this is one of the longest shanks you can get. So, and having this routed into the back is good, because then it keeps the back of the clock flush. Anyway, let's get the hole drilled. And remember that when you drill the hole, only go halfway in from this side, turn it over halfway in from the other side. That way you can make sure that your hole is more or less straight, unless you have a drill press, in which case you don't have to worry about such things. Really should have my mask on for this, but we'll be quick and then we'll let the air clear. And there we go. And the movement goes in. I'll be right back. Now, just so that we can put a pencil line on this and we can see where it is, we're going to put some tape on and then cut out the shape that we think we like. Right, one piece of orange, and that is going to go there, because it's going to get rid of this untidy bit and that bit of tear out there. So put that there like that. Might be interesting. And if I like that one, then I'll put another piece of orange in somewhere else. So we have the orange all sorted. It's a bit of a tight fit, but that's what we're looking for. So, and we'll put them in a little bit later on, because I don't want to glue these in without getting the blue in as well, because to glue these in we're going to have to use resin. These won't stick with PVA. So I've taken the liberty to cut the rest in while you weren't watching, because there's only so much routering that people can watch without falling asleep or turning off. So there we are. Bit of an odd clock, but the world's full of strange people, me being one of them, and I kind of like it. So we're going to glue these in now, and the only thing we have to be careful of is that we don't break them as we bed them down, because they are just plastic and there's a good chance that they could break if you mess about with them too much. So these are going to be fitted in and glued in with resin, as we've said, because we can't use PVA on them, because obviously it's a piece of plastic basically. So, and they're going to be semi-transparent as well, so once the finish is on, you're going to be able to see through the resin and see the wood underneath, which is nice. Anyway, while I'm doing this, I want to talk a little bit about the channel. We're doing really well at the moment. We're getting lots of subscribers. People seem to enjoy the content, particularly like the brevity of it. And I don't mean we sort of breeze past everything and don't take care of the details. I try to cover the essentials. Of course, you all have common sense, so you don't need to see me do every single step. It's like a lot of videos that I watch on YouTube. They are like 40, 50 minutes long, and you don't necessarily have to go to that amount of detail because people know what you're doing. You don't have to show a slab of wood and say, right, we're going to cut a shape out of this one, and this is what we're going to use, and this is what we're going to do. It's a shape. It's a simple shape. You know, unless there's something actually to tell, just get it done. So I think we'll just carry on as we're doing. And yeah, anyway, enough rambling. Let's get on with this. One other thing is that if you want to see a particular project made that you're not sure about, then drop it in the comments down below, and there's a good chance that I'll make it. So you never know. So there we go. All the resin pieces are in. We've used resin to stick them in with, and this is the quick drying resin, so by morning we should be able to get back on, get it sanded, get it shaped, and maybe get some finish on it. Oh, and we also have to fit the movement to the back, but that's not a huge job. So till tomorrow. We've noticed that you're not subscribed, so press that. Go on, you know you want to. Go on. So there we go, it's all glued in. Looks very tatty at the moment, but next comes the sanding. Sort the edges out, put a round over on it, and we'll see what we're left with and whether we like it or not. Because remember, this is an experiment. Okay, so all sorted now. We've put a nice 1/2 inch round over on it. It's all sanded back. It's all tidy. There's a few little bits and pieces here and there which we need to take care of. But all in all, very nice. So the next job is to put the movement in the back. So it's all marked out. And all we need to do now is just route out that centre bit. Right, let's talk about clock movements. Now, the days of clockwork have gone. You can still get them, but you have to order them specially, and you have to know what you're doing with them. I don't. This one, as you see, is the extra long shank, and you can get long shanks and you can get short shanks depending on what material your clock is made of and the thickness, of course. You can get high torque movements, which are for if you want a 2-foot clock, it's got big pointers. A high torque movement will have the power to move those big pointers all the way around the clock. For the purpose of our clock, our pointers are just going to be normal size pointers. So a standard mechanism is preferable for us. How do you hang your clock? Well, you can get these things if you order them with your clock, which just go on there, and then you can hang it. If your movement is deep inside a clock, if you've got a thick piece of wood and your movement is buried right inside, this doesn't do any good. So also you can buy movements with the actual hanger molded into the plastic. They're okay if you're doing a thin clock. So what we do is we'll just drill a hole in the back of the wood, and then that will act as a hanger. The only thing that you have to make sure with that is that you get it dead in the center, because you don't want your clock hanging to one side or the other. Right, to put our movement in, we've routed out our hole, and our movement will slot in like that. Push it in as far as it'll go. It's out the top, so we want our screw, and goes onto there. Now you can have a brass washer underneath if you want, but I'm doing without the brass washer for this one. So tighten that up. Then we just get a bit of paper. We've got our finish on, or the first coat. So our movement is in. The next thing to do is to put our pointers on. Pointers. The first one to go on is the hour hand, like so. Push that home. Second one, the minute hand. Push that home. And with some mechanisms, when you buy them, you'll get a little button just to cover that brass insert there. So pop that into there, and there we go. So that's a clock. So there you go, an experimental clock. What do you think? Does it have merits, or did I just waste 20 minutes of your time? Also, one thing that you should never do is don't be tempted to move the hands with your finger. You'll break the mechanism. Just use the button on the back. Okay? Next, beauty shots.